Hello, I'm Brian Steves, Director of Orchestras here at Kamiak High School, and I'm really glad you could check in and see what's going on in the world of orchestra at Kamiak High School for the 2021-22 school year. So I've been directing orchestras here at Kamiak since 1996. I actually started out as the first band teacher and wanted coming out of the rain. And I love orchestra, always have, and it's just a thrill being able to teach your students. This is my 35th year of teaching here in Mukilteo, and FYI, I got my master's at University of Washington and my bachelor's of arts at Pacific Lutheran University. A little bit about how this year is going to look different from last year, but how it may not look the same as in earlier years. I'm really glad that your sons and daughters continued with orchestra, because last year was a tough year for all of us in every respect, but especially in music teaching and music learning. Because we just couldn't do orchestra the way we wanted to over the Zoom. Zoom was powerful, but not for making music together at the same time, in the same virtual space. So we did our best, but a lot of the kids are sticking with the program, which I really appreciate. And it's coming with them in the spring was wonderful, and now this has just been a wonderful thing here in the fall. So thanks for all the encouragement that you have provided for your kids, and I'm really glad that they're here. So as far as performances go, just FYI, going to be a more flexible when it comes to attendance, just because if we are in a situation where the students or families are not feeling comfortable, then instead of just you're required to be there or else you get a 0 type thing, we'll talk and we'll make some alternate plans. So just so you know that there is more flexibility, because we are in a worldwide pandemic, and I'm aware of this. And so things will not be just as they always have been. It's, again, great to see your kids. I'm glad that they're coming in live and ready to make music, but we still have to deal with the reality, and I'm all about that. So we'll talk about our evening concerts, that hopefully they'll be running as normal, but we may need to provide for more seating. There's going to have to be some distance going on in the pack, which we're trying to work out now. Families can be close together, but I've usually had the kids sit in the pack to observe each other. That may have to go out the wayside, so that we can get families in there to listen, and she'll create some distance, and maybe the children will be watching it with a live stream as well. Maybe maybe we have to limit the number of family members from each family or something. Not sure, but first concert's coming up in November, and so I'm looking towards that, to how we can do that safely. And if we look at some of our sort of state level SCMEA and WASTA events, first I'm waiting to hear from our state leaders if Allstate and our SCMEA things are going to go on. Right now, the district is cautious with field trips, but they're going to be looking at these events, especially I think towards the middle of this month of October. So looking at the blue items, which are our festivals, I would like to attend these assessment festival opportunities where the kids get an adjudication. So we'll see if they're still being planned. I haven't heard that they are not. I know that the WASTA event is going to be continuing. Speaking of the WASTA, though, I am planning on that not being Friday or Saturday, but just being Saturday, March 12th, and making it a day event. If for some reason the district is really great with overnights and families are, then we can look at that as we approach that date. But I'm planning. I would hope we can still attend that contest, but it would be as a one day thing. And some of the special other events, if we're looking at the PLU Festival is coming up. We're not allowed to have carpools right now, so we've X'd out the symphony visit because that's based on carpools. Mercer Island, which we have attended the last couple of years, canceled. So I'm looking at a PLU festival. This is for the Commerce Strike only, but and I'm still working on getting permission to attend that. And if we do it, it has to be out with a school bus because no carpooling. So and it's on a school day as well. It's on Friday. So looking into continuing that event because the Commerce Strike kids are working hard in the mornings and they need something to be working towards. The district festival, well, FYI, Miss Beckman has retired. She's still at Buckle Elementary teaching the summit, but she's retired from the orchestra part. I'm understanding that they're teaching fifth grade orchestra remotely, which I don't understand how or why, but that is the way it is. So then that might make this actual event more important than ever because it's not only a sharing of music, but it's giving hope, to the parents and the kids about what's coming up in their future. Maybe if the event can go on, then maybe since you guys have heard your kids play a lot, and this is a Symphony 1 usually attends this because it already was crowded in the gym. Maybe we'll have the kids perform and let the little kids' parents come and attend or something along those lines. I know that everyone's bought into it at this point as far as music teachers, but again, time will tell. The Vienna Ball, I think it's going to be fine for the orchestra, and if people come to dance, I guess they're coming with people that they feel comfortable about, but the kids may not be able to dance. These waltzes kind of depend on a certain amount of proximity, so we will see. I would like to continue the tradition. And then for Messiah, we don't know if we have a facility right now because Everett is waiting until October. Right now, the district says anytime we perform off campus, it's a field trip, which is not really favored at this time. We're concerned because we haven't started any of our committee work for this. But Ms. Deck and I are talking, and we would like to see it continue. Maybe it'll be in like the before times in the gym, maybe like the before times, and hold it in the pack. We'll see. This really kind of left a little hole in my heart not having it last year, and so. And even Miss Duck, who is not always so keen on this event, was missing it. So we hope to continue this long tradition. In addition to performances, I am concerned about parent involvement because we have this great culture of boosters and parents coming out to make these events happen with the kids. And we might be losing a little culture of volunteerism, but we've lost committee chairs as this is the second year, for example, we haven't done the summer barbecue, and the last chairperson, her last daughter graduated 2 years ago, and so we have a certain amount of knowledge that's we pass along notebooks, but that's not exactly the same. And these are pages from a volunteer form that is now available to you as of this morning, and some of these things may not be going on. Messiah may not be going on, but I included everything into the form because I want, especially our new parents, to kind of see what it is that we do. It's, I think, a great schedule of important performances, but I know your kids are busy, college apps and all these things, AP classes, but it's a strong program because of some of these activities that we do together. And so we're hoping that when we are back full board that we can continue to serve the kids with great opportunities. So this is kind of the regular spiel and why I teach orchestra and why I think it's an important thing to have here in our schools. We've got these learning outcomes, but I just want you to know that I don't believe I'm training your kids necessarily to be concert musicians, professionals, although that's wonderful if that's the road that they decide to go down. But kids have come up and sometimes say, I'm going to be a neurophysicist, and so I need to take 3 science classes, and which is super important, math and science, of course. But my retort is, well, because you're going to be a neuroscientist, you should probably make music now while you can, because it's hard to do that when you're taking all those courses at the university and grad school, et cetera, et cetera. And so I do hope we get to play such great music here at Kamiak with your talented students, and it's a experience they will many of them will not have beyond high school. And so when they hear tunes on Classic King years from now, and they thought, oh, we played Egmont Overture in high school, and that they've come in touch with these great works. That's something that hopefully sticks with them. And there's also this social setting, which was really apparent last year, we were missing in our orchestra. And so they're important bonds that are made through music. It's just a great crossroads of effects. And so, but trying to have the kids become the strongest musicians that they can be while they got those fiddles under their chins. My grading method is percentage categories: 40% on playing tests, 30% on performances, 20% on the rehearsal skills, and 10% on music analysis and reflection. Last year was challenging because we had to have more emphasis, which I do enjoy, music analysis and reflection and music theory and things, but I know that's not what the kids signed up for. And so, but I tried to create last year tasks and content that would directly make them stronger musicians, as well as be of interest, I would think, to a curious, creative person. So, but we're back into the saddle of performance oriented, and that's great. So here's just an example of a quarter may look for their grades. We have a certain amount of tests, and each test might be weighted differently according to the value. So like a major excerpt test is worth 40 points, and maybe a 2-line technical study may be worth 10 points. Coming to the performances, again, we can talk about some flexibility in this area, but with the proper uniform, and that really helps because that's a nice percentage of the grade. And then for rehearsal skills, it's not just check off, did they come to class with a pencil and their instrument and things, but trying to teach some leadership, and they don't have to have a leadership position necessarily to be leaders in orchestra. It's about putting some ownership into the ensemble and making the ensemble a priority, and making it a priority, making the other students in the class a priority too. So these are important personal character skills that they don't always get in their other courses, and we should take advantage of the team effort that we do have in our orchestra class. So I have not yet prepared this formal handbook, but we're close. And here's some information on our uniform for November 10th, which is the first concert. So the PS 1 and 2 men are issued school tuxedos, which I'll talk about in a moment because they're all over the place. And for both orchestras, the women wear pretty much black from neck to the wrist down to the mid calf, I suppose, with black hose or something. But it's supposed to be an image of all black up there. We used to have the girls affectionately call them witches' dresses, matching dresses. But the parents had to sew them, and that was, very hard. And it turned out to be kind of expensive too. So I let the girls wear their own black, but they have to be responsible about it and wear appropriate black and a lot of black. And for the intermediate orchestra men, a tuxedo shirt or a nice white shirt, bow tie would be great, and then black socks, black shoes, black pants. So one thing I've been working on is the form situation, and I want to make it as easy actually for parents and families as possible. So I figured out how to do this with Schoology. So, and I got it in last night around midnight. So, because I knew this day was coming and people would want to know what was going on in the orchestra. So, I was able to create a student data card which reflects for each student what information I have on them from the years from the returning kids have given me this information, and maybe I get some of it from the middle school teachers. So there's just a card that says what I know about you. And that connects to a Google form that's individual for each student. It's pre-populated with the information that, again, that they've given me, and then you can update it just right there on the Google form and send it right back to me. So it's really quick and easy. If they need a new t-shirt size, because we're going to be distributing orchestra t-shirts in a couple weeks, and it's nice just right now while kids are looking at the forms to give me their t-shirt size, and so we don't have to worry about it later. And so if they were a small before and now they're a medium, they can just change that on the Google form and hit submit, and I get all the updates. And so it's really, really hopefully easy for busy families. Something that's also individualized and in their Schoology is a signature packet. Now, there's things in there that do need to be signed because we've gone on a field trip. Then we need to bring the originals with us. They can print that up, and I can give them hard copies here at school. But those are in their accounts. They're the permission slips in hopes that we can go to Skamia and Wasta. There's sort of a fake coupon in there to help direct, because there are a couple fees, and it gets kind of confusing between ASB and the school fees, and then the orchestra boosters fees. And so that's in there, and just some information on instruments and strings and equipment. If kids aren't taking private lessons, it's some advice on some good quality, like violin strings, etc. And then there's also a performance calendar, which is similar to what you just saw as we kind of highlighted things that are on for this year and off. Everything is still very, very, well, not very, very tentative, but things are still fairly tentative as the district is, as we get new information and they make decisions. My next step is to see if I can get you this information directly to parents, because right now through Schoology it's almost in your hands, but they have to kind of go through the kids right now on that. And this is in the packet, but so usually the orchestra fee has been $140 for PS1 and PS2, but that was mainly for the overnight trip to Wasta. Since it's a day trip, we will have a dinner together. We'll get a charter bus, and so there's $20, which is just our basic orchestra fee. It pays for the T-shirt, and when we do quartets, and I have 18 quartets on quartet days, I get a couple coaches to assist, so that helps take the edge off of that a little bit. And if Wasta is overnight, we'll talk more about such fees. And I usually like to get all the fees at the beginning, so then we don't have to worry about it, and we don't have to fuss in March. But I think we should hold off even on the $30 to boosters, because it's still a question mark. But if you pay and things change, we would get the funds back to you. Speaking of funds back to you, for ASB, and these are payable to Kamiak High School, I'm not sure on the Commerce Strike fee. We have a great clinician who comes in about 6 times a year to work with the kids, and ASB has been not doing so well financially, with fewer kids driving and not as many kids buying sodas and things. And so we've been charging the kids to take off. Again, it's part of that fee. But as a student pointed out to me, that they paid fees 2 years ago, at least some of them did, and then we didn't use the clinician the entire year because of COVID. So there should be some money in the account still, but I haven't gotten end of last year final tally yet. So, but we'll look at. I'm glad the students brought that up to me, and we'll look at reducing that. Usually, it's I think $110, reducing it. If there is still clinic money from a year and a half ago. So in the form, in the Google form, there is some information seeking about tuxedos. The last time the tuxedos were used in 2019 for Messiah, or maybe Vienna Ball. They got some action. But some were turned in. We have not done a big cry to get them back in, but we need to get them redistributed, and So there's asking if you are going to keep the same tuxedos, maybe a little reminder on what the inventory number is on it, and if your son or daughter has changed sizes and they need a new one, we can maybe at least do some of the work in case we don't get a full fitting. Usually at our summer barbecue, we do a fitting for the guys and get them all, actually put a tuxedo on and get the precise size. We may not have that luxury this year, so I ask for you to send the sizes in to me, and we'll just see what we can parse out in advance. For solo ensemble, there's fees involved. I pay for all the ensembles, except for if they have doing a solo or a duet. I ask the kids to pay those fees. It's an ASB derived funds, and so it's kind of limited right now. We thank Hyung for, again, being our Orchestra Liaison. Last year was not a very exciting year for being a liaison, but we did the Zoom meetings, and we're, boosters, a little slower, but still alive. And we had our first meeting already in September, and our second one's coming up in a couple weeks. And I believe the proposal's out for the October and November meetings to be Zoom meetings. So in September, we had about half the people on Zoom and half were live, and we've heard that Zoom might be more appropriate, and we'll see how that works throughout the year. And so she's going to be in touch with Alva and get you onto our charm system and just open up those lines of communication. And that's what I have for you for tonight. So please feel free to email me or with any questions, and the orchestra handbook pretty much covers the things we've discussed here today, but that will also be going into the kids' Google Drive, so they can look at that, and we'll go over some things in classes as well. But your kids are doing great. We're having a fantastic time, and looking forward to seeing you hopefully at our November 10th concert. Thanks so much.